All right. So what else we got here? So I couldn't tell if Faith Goldie was messing with me or not because I don't know her, but I've had her back before. It says breaking: China lands spacecraft on far side of the moon, and she tagged at Owen Comedy on Twitter, which is my Twitter account run by Delev because I'm not allowed on Twitter. Oh yeah, that's another thing this dude said. He's like, dude, it seems like you're just motivated by hate because he goes tweeting about whether or not there's Jewish janitors. I'm like, dude, an Israeli tweeted that. She thought it was funny because there aren't any Jewish janitors. Instead of trying to find me a Jewish janitor, which they don't exist, people just get mad at me. And it's like, oh, you want to know what's actually a little more hateful than asking the question, are there Jewish janitors? The fact that Jews can't even clean up after themselves and everyone else has to be a janitor. How the hell isn't that talked about? So I don't know if Faith Goldie was trying to that's why I was like crafting a real attack. But then because of previous learning experiences, I was like, okay, let's not assume that she was trying to, because I was getting texts and crazy emails where everyone's like, hey, people wouldn't even say what they were doing. They would just drop it in there and be like, turns out other countries go to the moon. Hey, guy, check this out. And I just have to just continuously write unmanned. It's unmanned. And also, if you trust the Chinese government, you're insane. But it's also unmanned. So I couldn't tell if she was trying to like get me on the case or talk shit. So I just didn't say. I'm just waiting to see. I've never seen a Jewish lobster either, only gay ones. That's true. Faith is a good soul. Good. That's what I'm glad. I assumed that. Funny how Owen has been talking about the moon hoax. Please, come on, say something awful. And then all of a sudden, China lands on the dark side of the moon. Bullshit. Okay, you're one of the good guys. You get it. I thought you were about to just be like, funny how Owen's talking about the moon hoax. When's he going to kill himself? I get so much of that, I have like no tolerance for it anymore. I'm just like, out, ban. I think she's just joking around. That's what I assume. I'm glad I didn't unleash. I can be a little defensive when I'm getting when people are just coming at me. I was going to shoot a sketch where it shows like a dude being attacked by like 5 people and he's just swinging and stuff. And then it cuts to someone across the street and you don't see the 5 people. You just see the person swinging at nothing. And it's to show people what social media can do to your mind, because a lot of people don't see the fights I'm currently in when they just kind of write something and my reaction is so just definitive and just like militant that they're like, hey, whoa, bro. And I'm like, oh, you didn't see the 1,000 people that just, told me to kill myself. And I get that. I get that like if you don't see what I go through, sometimes I probably seem pretty decisive. That's why I try to make it funny. I just call people retards, or I say that their mother was, citizen X or patient 0 for HPV. Or I'll just say like, your mom will blow anyone for attention. And the fact that I clearly don't know their mom should indicate that I'm being funny, but at the same time being antagonistic. It's the same with calling people retards. It's such a funny word, and it really carries almost no meaning. It doesn't mean I think you have mental retardation. It's just such a silly, taboo, stupid word that I usually use that to break tension, but it had the opposite effect with the moon hoax thing. Like, I'm like, no, retard, we never went to the moon. And people are like, I will not subscribe to you if you call me a retard. I'm like, your mom started HPV? Like, what exactly should I say? Because I'm not going to engage with someone that doesn't know anything and is just going to offend me. And when I say offend me, I'm not talking about SJW. Like, people will tell me I'm mentally ill. That's incredibly offensive to say to somebody with a family. If you actually believed I was mentally ill, you would be concerned for my family. That's always, my buddy was getting fired from being a teacher because he had an NRA bumper sticker and would make videos about how to shoot like SKS guns and stuff like that. And so they brought him in and they're like, we're worried that you may be a school shooter. And so he kept teaching and stuff. And at one point he goes to them, he's like, so let me get this straight. You think that I could be a school shooter and you let me come to work every day? And he's basically saying like, you don't really think I'm going to be a school shooter, or else you wouldn't let me come to a school. And I'm the same way with the mental illness stuff. It's like, I'm worried about you. You're mentally ill. It's like, if you really were, you would act completely different than how you are. You know what I'm saying? And we're about to get to Martin Luther King Jr. Owen Banner the Incredible Bear Hulk. True unbearables. That's awesome. Yeah, totally. Last time I got laid was a Jewish janitor. I feel like you're lying about both. Oh, and what happens? Ah, man, the chat's too fast. I got to ban more people. Oh, and what happens when China proves USA lied on the moon? It'll be a great day for me. You know, no one will apologize. People will just get weird. You know, someone wrote me a story on a comment on yesterday's stream as this girl was like, this reminds me a lot of when I told my sister that her boyfriend was cheating on her. Her sister got furious and, started throwing things and started rumors, wouldn't talk to her. And then her sister's boyfriend gave her crabs. And so she said that her sister started talking to her again, but never apologized. And I feel like that would happen with the moon situation, with the amount of people that have literally said things to me that I wouldn't say to my worst enemy. When it is proven that we didn't go to the moon, which it will be, they won't apologize. They'll just like be like, oh yeah, Owen. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like Alex Jones was right about Bohemian Grove. That's unbelievable. Alex Jones was saying that the elites of the world all get together and they get naked and they mock human sacrifice and they pray to an owl and they plan how they're going to rule the world. And people literally, like powerful people, media people were like, he is an idiot. And then he proved that not only is it true, it's even crazier than he said. And people were like, ban him. We got to get him out of here. Like they absolutely, there's people that don't care at all about truth. It's only power. And so that's what this dude was trying to tell me. He's basically like, just keep people's secrets, just play the game and you'll get more power. And I'm like, there's absolutely nothing good that comes from power. Nothing. And I require no power over anyone. I think it has to do with my height. I think really short men with a lot of money, they realize they still are looked at as children. Like, like when a 5'5" man, and I put man in quotes, has a lot of money and fancy cars and all this stuff. And he realizes that he still needs a booster seat, at Chuck E. Cheese. They then require power. And that's when things get really bad. And that's why I don't trust short men. Because they typically end up in some form of secret society, sucking the blood out of babies. All right. Ignore the haters, BB. Well, I mean, I can't really ignore them because then I ignore all the good stuff. My life is 95% ridiculously positive. The emails you guys send me, the comments you guys post on here it's a better education than college was. And the support and the community, it's so good that if I can't take the bitter, I can't get any of the sweet. And so, of course, I can't ignore the trolls and the monsters because then you can't turn it on and off based on who it is. You have to just either allow input or not. And the people that just shut off themselves from their own audience, like I think Joe Rogan has that problem. I think Joe Rogan spent too many years not reading his comments, not getting emails, not, interacting with the people that like him, that he kind of forgot what it was. I think he spent too much time around the intellectual dark web fags and forgot what he was and what people like about him, you know? And I think that that's kind of like, that could happen to me. Absolutely. I'm not holding myself above Joe Rogan in that sense, because I've been in a world of just everybody you know is like a Sam Harris faggot, you know, just like, hey, let's, you know, and that's death for creativity. It's death for, I mean, Rogan's joke writing ability has went like this. It's just, and you know it's true. You can't call me a hater if it's true. It's only, I'd only be a hater if I was like, yeah, Brian Regan ain't funny no more. And he is. Brian Regan's hysterical. Or if I said, like, Norm Macdonald was never funny. No, that would be insane, because then you'd be like, oh, you're a hater. Or if I was like, Donald Trump sucks at business. But when it's true, it clearly isn't being a hater. In fact, it's the only thing that could possibly help these people. Rogan was never all that funny. Yeah, but all the stuff about animals was really funny. Like about dolphins. And like his views of animals was really, really funny. Really funny. Like Joe Rogan thinking about animals and thinking about like the intricacies of an animal's life was really funny. And that's kind of like what he doesn't do anymore. Now he's more about, you know, just stupid shit. Brian Regan is great. He's unbelievably good. There's a ton of funny people. Eric Nimmer, my opener on the road, is insanely funny. It's not even just the famous people. There's some people that a lot of people don't know about that are just crazy funny. But yeah, you got to stay in touch with your people. Like, you got to read the comments. You got to live amongst the people you like. That's why this whole castle on the hill mentality is death to thoughtful people. And I think one thing that a lot of Hollywood didn't understand about me and kind of made them think that I was insane is the fact that I like lived amongst the people that came to my shows and never stopped. And I think they would cut themselves off and only hang out with each other. And when you're trying to make other comedians laugh, or executives, or titans of industry, or PR people, or just random Jews, or just rich Saudis that are financing your movie, you're not funny to the people that originally liked you. And you know, everybody's malleable. Everybody can be swayed. And that's one reason why I've structured my life so that my friends aren't all movie stars or all like rich people that like don't hang out with anybody, because I would have a distorted perception of reality. You know, I don't like Rogan. Yeah, most people don't like Rogan anymore. And it's pretty obvious. You know, his YouTube channel and his podcast get a lot of views, but it's not a lot of like love or respect. He used to get a lot of respect from me as well. Like back in the day when he would have on his buddies and they would talk about not going to the moon and shit, or like he would bring in, you know, health experts that would talk about like saunas, or like, you know, he exposed me to Steven Crowder, and like him and Steven Crowder fighting, and he like, you know, Rogan's being an asshole to Crowder. But that's when I really liked it. I liked Crowder for that. And like Rogan would have on people that other people wouldn't have on. But that's all gone. Like he doesn't have those people anymore that just like read his comments. His audience is becoming like Cher's audience. They're like just snooty gay guys. You know? I first heard you on Rogan, your first episode. Yeah, and it's great that a lot of people heard me on Rogan, but I don't want more fans. Like, I like the Bears. Like, I don't want a ton of people to just tell me I'm fucking awesome because they saw me on some platform that is huge. That literally sounds to me like a nightmare. And people think I'm saying that like I'm lying, or I'm like trying to like pull some maneuver. That literally sounds like a nightmare. Like, I can't imagine living that way at all. Like, you live in a golden prison. Right now, there's 4,200 people watching. That's more than all of Comedy Central for when they do live things. That's more than anybody on Daily Wire. There's no ad. I pay $0 to promote it. I'm not allowed on Twitter. I'm not allowed on Facebook. Like, I don't need more. Like, I've got way too much. Like, I can't even read all the fucking super chats. All right. Keep driving it home, BB. I mooned someone in public today and said the Apollo landing was fake. Hope that got the message across. Dude, Elon Musk is dropping breadcrumbs, but I appreciate that. Good sir, can you please read our 1911? Yes, HR 1911. It puts our surveillance state on steroids. Already passed House. You have a good platform and people will listen to you. Yeah, but it's my theory about platforms and shit like that. Like, I've accepted how little power we have with the government. It's pretty. It seems depressing on the surface, but like, they're so manipulative and so fucking corrupt at this point. Like, the government's been closed for like a month now and no one cares. They don't do anything. So the only way around that, and I do a lot of thinking about this, is establish our communities, get skills, like have families, have your faith, understand, like do your work to make sure that when things go down, you have worked through it. You know, fresh water, bullets, because awareness doesn't do shit. I spent the last year like on Instagram being like, look at what they're doing to children. Look at what they're teaching to kids. Look at what is now legally, like what England is doing. Look at what's happening in Germany, the gang rapes. All it does is make a bunch of people have this short-term endorphin or serotonin release, like their comment did anything. And everybody would be like, this is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. Like. And I'm like, all right, I'm doing something good. Like, I'm getting the word out. It doesn't do shit. So the only way to do it is actual, like, that's why I'm going at the heart of shit. Like, that's why I'm focusing on moon landing, you know, evolution, Federal Reserve, you know, sacred cows. I'm about to talk about Martin Luther King Jr. I'll go after this stuff that is fundamental for all these, like, these arms to, like, hurt us. Because that's where it starts. NASA fundamentally is the religion of the state. I've watched it with my own eyes. And that's why I'm so passionate about all this. Because NASA has created a priest class of astronauts that have given people a sense of, like, divinity that makes it so the state now controls your deepest emotions. And that's why it has to be stabbed. It has to be gutted. That's why I have to continuously, and it's worked. You know how many people I've turned on the moon landing shit? Thousands. People that have written to me like, hey man, like, at first I thought you were crazy, but legitimately, like, we didn't go to the moon. And people are so terrified that if you accept that your whole world is going to spiral. That's what Harrison told me on InfoWars today, that, like, you know, once you take that red pill, you might enter this, like, crazy state of mind where nothing matters. I'm like, you're insane, dude. The fact that children are given hormone blockers is so much more insane than the moon landing stuff. Like, the amount of lies the government has told us is, the moon landing one got probably the least amount of people killed. You know, people that I know that'll talk about Project, you know, Mockingbird and, you know, the Gulf of Tonkin and, you know, the babies in incubators lie and all this shit that propels wars, and they'll be like, oh yeah, that shit's all real. And then you talk about the moon landing and they're like, whoa, man. And that's why I know that it's, like Agenda 21 makes the moon landing hoax thing like nothing. That's why that's why I realized that it was, that it's religion. It's a religion. It gives people a sense of divinity. It's like abortion with that. Like, abortion is human sacrifice. It's institutional human sacrifice. And that's why when you criticize it, people lose their fucking minds. It's the same with the moon landing. It's every, like, child's dream of the moon and them sitting with their dad and talking about astronauts. And do you understand that I'm convinced it's a CIA psyop to make, listen, I'm no rocket scientist, the equivalent of intelligence? Think about how insane that is. That it's like, listen, I'm no rocket scientist. Like, that is what makes you smart. Like, that's the ultimate intelligence, is being a rocket scientist. I could name 50 careers that have smarter jobs. Where it's like, listen, I'm no rocket scientist here. That was to create this image of these people as the smartest people in the world. It's the same with college professors. It's like a professor, a PhD, a doctor. You can't question what they say. Have you seen what the hell they're teaching in class these days? All right. You guys get it. This is fun. Ever since banning people, if you notice how awesome the chat is, that's what the government needs to do with the wall. Once you show pushback, you will see a turn in the population. Like, once they know that there is a disincentive. Like, I debated Harrison on InfoWars today because he didn't attack my family. You know, like, there's podcasts and stuff out there and YouTube streams that come at me so hard and so personally. And people are like, go on there and debate him. Shut him down, Big Bear. And of course I would win, obviously. But that would incentivize that behavior. That the way to get me on your show is to attack me. And that will make sure that I will never do your show, because all these people want are views, and I would bring them views. And so if I did that, even though I want to destroy people that hurt me, obviously, or try to hurt me, the minute you do that, you incentivize awful behavior, and then more and more and more people will do it. It's the welfare state of the imagination. And so it's like that with the chat. It's like, as soon as you start showing that certain behavior will not be accepted, it sets a tone and everyone starts seeing that. And that's what we need with immigration. That's what we need with schools. That's what we need with all of it. You know, just show that there is a limit. And so much more than being aware of HR 1911, and I'm sure that's a problem, and you vote the right way on that, you know, I'll do my part in that with awareness. But much more important than that is having a personality that can stop in a line and take whatever wizard bullshit people will throw at you. That's the most efficient and the most powerful thing you can develop as a human being. Where when someone says, like, implies that they're worried about you, or if you have a certain opinion, you're not allowed on their show, or, you know, all that stuff, to just be like, fine. If we all had that, none of this is happening. Because it's almost like a predatory man sexually with a woman. I'm not talking rapist. I'm just talking predatory. Like, he will keep touching more parts of your body until you say no. And that's something you got to understand. You know, there's certain people that, you know, come upstairs and we'll have a drink. If you're like, okay, it's like, okay, come to my bedroom. Let's smoke some weed. Okay. Why don't you sleep over? I don't want you driving. You've had some drinks. You smoke some weed. You know, at least you should probably stay over. Okay. At any point, just say no. And most men aren't rapists. They're opportunists. You know, they're not going to be like, hey. They're going to be like, come on. You know, they'll try different angles. But just no. It's like, you sure? I mean, it could be fun. We'll listen to some music. You're talking about how you like Miles Davis. I got a Miles Davis record. It's like, no. And in the end of the day, that man will respect you more for that. I tried to sleep with Amy the first night I met her. She said no. I'm married to her with children now. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of times women want to please, like, they want the man to like them. So they think that saying yes, it will make the man like them. But in fact, show that you have boundaries. Just say no. You know, I made some, I got there. No, it just wasn't in the beginning, but I got there eventually. If peeing your pants is cool, consider me Miles Davis. That's a funny line. We don't respect women with no boundaries. It's a fact. You don't respect. People have the wrong idea about gays and trans people and fucking boundaries of the country. And dude, the reason that Trump has basically ended North Korea as a problem and Russia is because those dudes respect boundaries. The cuck Obama married to a man who dresses like a woman. Like, that shit doesn't fly with actual males or actual powerful people. Doesn't fly at all. It's like, that's why Nimmer and me can be tight, because he doesn't have this like cucky black vibe, and I don't have a cucky white vibe. You know, it's like, he'll make fun of me for being white. I'll make fun of him for being black. We both probably prefer our own color. I know I prefer my color. I'm pretty sure he prefers his color. That's why we're friends. If he was a self-hating black guy, I wouldn't respect him. You know, like Delev is a proud Jew. If she was a self-hating leftist Jew, we couldn't be friends. You know, and you got to understand that for like everything. Good, sir. All right, let's get into Martin Luther King Jr. So I got, oh, by the way, let's talk about this whole China bullshit. So this just in, China successfully landed a spacecraft on the far side of the moon Thursday, becoming the first country to ever land on the side of the moon that faces away from the Earth, state news media said. Okay, first off, state news media means that you can't trust that. Also, just to tell you a little funny story. So I Instagram posted this, and I was like, the sun still shines on the dark side of the moon. It's just away from the Earth. And I started making fun of it. And this pretty big conservative Instagram guy was like, you're so fucking stupid. The dark side of the moon isn't really dark. And I was like, listen, you roid head retard, stop doing squats for 1 minute and read what I wrote. Like, that was all set up as a troll. And I know that there is psyops going on, right? So when this happened, a lot of people would write, how do you, like, where's the light? Because it's the dark side of the moon. And that doesn't mean you're stupid if you thought that, by the way. Those are easy slip ups that you can do mentally. And then people just immediately go, they make you feel stupid, and then you pull back. That is faked. And there's no people on it. That is total bullshit. And NASA and China doesn't have Kubrick. So it's gonna be absurd, right? This photo's released. Fox News showed this. This is a photo from China. And it's a Photoshop moon with shading over the Earth. Like, that is a fake photo. It's a fake photo. And so, like, anybody that looks at that photo, like, you're basically seeing what life would be like in 1969 for NASA. And do you understand? Them deleting all the footage is huge. Every image you've ever seen from NASA is a recording of a recording of a recording. That's why it's all hazy and bullshit, because the originals, you could see how fake it was. You know, it's kind of like right now if you watch Dark Crystal or The Neverending Story, the CGI and the effects are so bad, it's insane. It's the same with the moon landing. That's why they had the original, like, at the time, like, high definition versions of the hoax. And it became so obvious that it was a hoax that they had to do recordings of recordings. And so that awful feed they showed us on television, and they said, oh no, we have all the good footage though. Like, we all have like the really well shot footage. It's in NASA, you know, we got it. And so then later they revealed that they don't have it, that they taped over it. You know, 100,000 tapes, 1 metric ton of tapes. And that's when cognitive dissonance starts. It's the same with Trump derangement syndrome. Then people would say, oh, well, that's a government program. They're idiots. It's like, are they idiots? Or did they accomplish the greatest feat that's ever happened that no one can do again? It's just like Trump. He's either an evil mastermind who's been working with Putin for the last 30 years to overthrow Hillary Clinton, or he's a bumbling idiot who just wants to, like, grab pussies. It can't be both. So, you know, hate me if you want. Shoot the messenger all you want, but I've read Plato's Cave. That's a fake photo. And if that blows your mind and that makes you think, even the image of the Earth that NASA shows you, the classic blue marble, that's fake. That like an artist puts the clouds in and does a composite and changes the color of the ocean. It's all fake. It's all fake. Want to know where that comes from? Is that me with my conspiracy theory websites? NASA. I've watched interviews with the guy about how he does a moon drawing. It's all fake. That image of the rocket landing down on it, like just landing, like it's parking a car, was fake. It isn't fake. It's all fake. You know, when you saw everybody in the control room cheer when a rover landed on Mars, it was literally a cartoon. It was fake. It was and they're like, oh, that's the recreation. So you're telling me in real time, as they're really landing on Mars, they already had a recreation ready to go that an artist, you know how long it takes to do graphics? Months. It takes 9 months to do Family Guy, one Family Guy. Okay, so they have that ready to go, like how it's gonna look, so that on the day they can play the digital representation and people clap. How do they know that's what it looked like? It's all fucking fake. And it's like, don't rock the boat. Maybe I will rock the boat. How's that sound? I gotta every time the stream is happening and it building, right? It was just up to 4,500 people watching. And then it drops 400 people, just zoom. I'm usually worried that the internet failed, but sometimes it's YouTube. I don't know. Because mathematically that makes zero sense. It's the same with viral videos. If your video starts going viral, like it's like 1,000 views in an hour, 5,000 views in 2 hours, 20,000 views in 3 hours, and then it just stops, that's a lie. Because that's not how exponential growth works. Unless there's something stopping it, there would be no reason for more people to not share what those thousands and thousands of people did. All right. The moon landing scene in Transformers was more convincing than the photo. Oh, I know. Who took the picture of the rover of rover coming of lander? I know what you're saying. It's digital. It's fake. It's all fake. Big Mother effing Bear, it's been a while. Happy to make the live stream. Given any more thought to doing a show on how children are hurt as a result of the family court screwing fathers? Yeah, I will. It's really sad. I absolutely will. Hey, BB, what do you think of QAnon? I have no opinion. I can't, if I don't know who someone is, I can't, I understand why the person has to be secret, but love your integrity, want to support you. Thank you. Do you really think you would be a better astronaut than Joe Rogan? He would space MMA your kick neck off, bro. He'd be a way better astronaut than me because he's 5'5" and a liar. Do you understand? I wanted to be in the Air Force. You guys understand that? That's one of the reasons why this is pisses me off about NASA. Is I used to want to like fly fighter planes and shit. Do you understand that there's a height limit? Like there's a certain height that you're not allowed to be if to be a pilot. It's like 5'11" or something. They don't let you in certain parts of the Air Force if you're a certain height. So Rogan would be allowed in because he's technically a midget, I believe. And he's a liar, so he can keep a secret. I wouldn't keep a secret, and I'm not a midget. And I think he pumps butts. And like astronauts, I think notoriously pump each other's buttholes.